as we've been delving into playing more board games, I sort of started to discover some things that we like and we will look for in board games. And we're here with Prospect today to talk about those. You tell me some things you look for in board games.
Yep. Number one, aesthetics. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but I believe aesthetics matter. Now, don't get me wrong, this is number three, not number one, because it's not the most important thing in a game.
It can certainly add to the theme.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this is also my number three. But I think it's also, adds to the theme and the immersion and obviously just looks pretty.
Yeah.
But also I think the aesthetics working well with the design to be able to help you play the game and have sort of really clear marked out areas so that the design, the aesthetics help the gameplay.
Yeah, and you got to be sitting at a table for anywhere from 20 minutes to 4 hours. You want something that's aesthetically pleasing. There's something that's not going to drain the life out of you, even if the game is good. But yeah, that was my number three.
That's my number three as well.
Copycat.
Yeah, exactly. Your number two?
My number two, this is where we start to differentiate from things that perhaps make games objectively good as opposed to things that specific people prefer about games. I like games with depth. I really like a game to have a lot of depth. Lots of rules, lots of different currencies, lots of different things, a rule book, a 1 hour teach, maybe not, but also maybe. Like, I don't mind a 1 hour teach because it generally means you're getting a lot of game out of your game. Yeah, like, we've had this conversation a lot of times before.
But we have, because like one of my favorite games at the moment, which we've played a lot and we'll talk about, is Dune Imperium, which is sort of a midway game, which does have depth, it does have lots of strategies, but I feel like I don't mind games that take 15 minutes to play, that are a bit lighter. So for me, depth is important, but like I'm gonna go. My number two is more simple to start, but hard to master.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's important as well, for sure.
An hour teach, I think, for me is too much.
Too prohibitive. Yeah.
But I also don't want to be like, play it once and be like, oh, I've done everything you can do in the game. It's pointless to play again. Like that's not enough of a game for me. But yeah, I do want to have a reason to come back.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and that's a good one.
So you're number one.
My number one. Number one, slightly a cop out because it's not, I'm not scouring the shelves before I buy the game. This is after the game. I found that the games I like best are the ones that stay in my head for hours, days, weeks afterwards. That's how I know I want to win it. If I'm still thinking about the game the day after, or as I go to bed, or I know I've found not just a good game, not just a great game, but like top shelf, buy immediately. This is a game. For
Something
me.
of the game is hooked into your brain, and you want to sort of keep.
Yeah, and for me that's the clearest signpost that I'm on a winner. An example of that is Dune Imperium. We've played that game 4, 5, 6 times now, and still every time, not just the first time or the second time, but every single time, the day after, I'm thinking, oh, I could have done this, or maybe next time I'll try this strategy. And it's not regret. It's not coulda, shoulda, woulda. It's my brain still playing the game. It's still going through the machinations.
There's a reason. It's drawing you back in, which is always fun.
Yeah. What are your number one?
So I'm going to use that as an example as well. Is I like games that have a tense, tight decision space. That your actions matter. What you're doing matters. I don't really care about winning in board games, but I do want a game where that not all the time, but that it is tense. That you can sort of tell like your decisions that you made, that the cards you picked up, the plays you've made, have really strengthened your position, or you got I did something stupid and I could have done this, this, and this, but I've done this, and
Your decisions really actually matter and have like a tangible effect on the game.
Which I think Dune Imperium does well for a midweight game. That when you're building a deck, you're using it in multiple ways. So there's sort of the give and take of that, which is really exciting, of different mechanics working together. And so I like games like that. And even games like when you think of like Battle Line, where you're just forming 3 card poker hands, but you're like, I can't win all of them. Which one am I going to go? And sometimes as simple as like left to right almost becomes, with the right game, can become a really interesting decision space. So that's what I like and look for in board games.